Brock Lesnar, one of the biggest names in this era of professional wrestling. The reaction he gets when his music hits tells you everything you need to know about where he stands. If you look back at his career from his early days in the WWE, there was a buzz. People knew he was going to be a big deal, plus you had Heyman telling you every week that he was the next big thing. He's a very convincing man. Today, let's take a look at his journey toward the WWE title and how he became the face of SmackDown in 2002. On June 23rd of that year, Rob Van Dam faces Brock Lesnar in the finals of the King of the Ring tournament, and with a little help from Uncle Paul, Rob eats an F5 and Brock wins the tournament. On July 21st, 1 month later, at Vengeance, The Rock bests Kurt Angle and The Undertaker in a triple threat match to become the WWE Undisputed Champion. The next night on Raw, the new champion celebrates his victory. Eddie Guerrero crashes the party, and after admitting to emotionally scarring his children over their admiration for The Rock, a match is set up. This match isn't for the title, but if Eddie wins, he will be owed an opportunity. That's a cool reversal to the rock bottom, but Latino heat does fall to the people's elbow. No time to celebrate. Brock Lesnar rushes the ring, grabs The Rock's championship, and throws it to his feet before casually walking away. It was established that as the King of the Ring winner, Lesnar gets his championship match at SummerSlam, and so the mind games have started. A few days later, Lesnar makes a statement when he interrupts a match between Kurt Angle and Mark Henry. Angle confronts Lesnar backstage. The arrogant rookie declares that Angle's days of being SmackDown's top guy are over. Later, The Rock and Hulk Hogan take on Christian and Lance Storm for the tag team titles. Before Hogan can secure a pinfall victory over Christian, Brock runs out and gives Hulk an F5, causing a disqualification. Backstage, Lesnar and Heyman make their leave after bullying Hulk's chauffeur into driving them away in his limo. Is that how it works? On July 29th, The Rock takes on Ric Flair in the main event of Raw in a cute little match in which The Rock heals it up and does what he can to make the legend look like he still got it. The Rock Bottom gets the job done. Now let's take a look at the August 1st episode of SmackDown. Angle wants Lesnar. Hogan wants Lesnar. Who's facing Brock Lesnar? Well, Stephanie McMahon says the two can fight it out. The winner gets his hands on Brock Lesnar next week. As far as who gets his hands on Brock tonight, well, that's Mark Henry. It's a short little contest designed to further get Brock over by accentuating his freakish strength. We move on. Kurt Angle and Hulk Hogan wrestle their match. It's, as you'd imagine, Kurt bumping and selling, attempting to make what little Hogan's capable of look as impactful as possible. I mean, it's not bad though. It's Kurt freaking Angle in 2002, come on. Brock gets involved, Angle is caught using a chair on Hogan, and Hulk gets the victory by disqualification. Brock gives Hogan an F5, letting the Hulkster know what awaits him next week. Stephanie McMahon announces that she's acquired 2 Raw talents in the Intercontinental Champion Chris Benoit and Eddie Guerrero. They main event tonight's SmackDown against Edge and The Rock. This is really good. Benoit and Guerrero as a unit are completely vicious. There's never a dull moment as the heels isolate and dominate. No wasted motion. This does not end as one would assume. After Lesnar walks out with a steel chair to taunt The Rock, Benoit locks in the crossface and the undisputed champion taps out. You heard me. In the build towards SummerSlam, the champion not only loses, but taps out. This is actually really smart because this loss turns out to be important to the build. Just hold on, I'll get to why in a bit. Next week on the August 8th edition of SmackDown, Paul Heyman freaks out after Hogan convinces Brock to put his SummerSlam spot on the line. The interest for their encounter is evident. The fans are invested at the prospect of Hogan challenging The Rock at SummerSlam. Brock garners a good amount of heat because he's ruthless. After kicking out of a leg drop, Brock hits an F5 because of a Heyman distraction. Lesnar forgoes a pinfall and decides this isn't over. Brock squeezes the life out of Hulk with a bear hug and Hogan passes out. Brock busts the legend open with a chair, then wipes the blood of Hogan on himself. The fans seem to be in shock. They genuinely anticipated this going the other way. Brock Lesnar shows up on Monday Night Raw wearing a Hulkamania shirt. A Triple H promo is interrupted by The Rock, and thanks to Lesnar, Triple H is able to hit a pedigree on him. This leads to the main event of Triple H, Test, Lance Storm, and Christian versus Booker T, Goldust, The Undertaker, and The Rock. I don't recall watching this match before. It's a pretty fun main event. A little short, but that's fine. Anyway, to the dismay of the crowd, Test pins The Undertaker after a big boot. Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman open the August 15th edition of SmackDown. Heyman brags that Brock ended Hulkamania and that the legend was merely a stepping stone on Lesnar's journey toward SummerSlam. Rikishi shows up, gets the better of Brock, and very nearly gives Paul a stink face before the two hightail it out of there. The rising star wrestles Rikishi later on. Does Brock get a stink face? No, but Heyman does. Brock makes Big Quiche pay with an F5, and that's that. The Rock is interviewed backstage, and wait, what the hell is this? Well, regardless of any of that, in the main event, The Rock takes on the man who submitted him. This is good stuff. A nice callback takes place at the end of the match when Brock Lesnar watches on while The Rock nearly loses to the crossface again. Not this time, though. The People's Champ digs deep, reaches the bottom rope, and finds victory with a rock bottom. Brilliant stuff how they did this. The Rock showed vulnerability on the road to SummerSlam, but with renewed determination, he exhibits that Lesnar's mind games aren't going to faze him. August 19th, Monday Night Raw, tonight's main event, Triple H versus The Rock in a no disqualification match. The Rock cuts a promo on Brock and Heyman in which the undisputed champion says Paul Heyman likes to lay naked on the beach watching Brock work out while he cheers him on like a fat walrus. Okay, that was pretty funny. The Rock says until Lesnar brings it, he's not the next big thing, but the next big bit. For the main event, Heyman and Lesnar watch from the crowd as they've purchased tickets. This is a very basic match. It ends in a non-finish when Triple H and Shawn Michaels brawl while The Rock pursues Lesnar through the crowd. SmackDown, August 22nd. Heyman continues to hammer home what Brock Lesnar did to Hulk Hogan. Paul promises that Brock and Rock will collide tonight. The Rock comes out and says, let's do this thing right now. Eddie Guerrero and the Intercontinental Champion rush out and jump The Rock. Next, we see Edge arrive to SmackDown, and he's also jumped by Eddie and Chris. This sets up the main event of Eddie Guerrero and Chris Benoit versus The Rock and Edge. Like their previous tag, this is more quality stuff. Edge pins Eddie Guerrero, but before the show ends, Brock Lesnar appears. Stephanie McMahon had mentioned that The Rock's ribs aren't in great shape after the Triple H match. Even though Brock takes advantage of that, he's sent packing as SmackDown comes to a close. We move on to SummerSlam, August 25th, 2002, a great atmosphere with a big fight feel. Everything leading up to this moment was gold. Well, from the SmackDown side at least. Brock didn't sleep with Rock's wife or run over his dog. The feud was basic and effective. The old guard from the Attitude Era has the top prize, and a hotshot rookie is stepping up to dethrone him as the Ruthless Aggression Era is ushered in. As the match begins, it's apparent that some fans are ready for change. Not only are there chants of Rocky sucks, but there are even cheers for Paul Heyman's cheap shots. A lot of this has to do with the fact that The Rock will be leaving for Hollywood, and I'm sure there's some resentment. While Heyman aids Brock throughout the match, The Rock neutralizes his efforts. He's a non-factor for the finish. Brock kicks out of a rock bottom and hits one of his own, as Taz calls it, a Brock bottom. Lesnar stops Rock short of a people's elbow, avoids a second rock bottom, and hits the F5 and becomes the undisputed champion to a big reaction. The start of something new and exciting has begun. There's just one problem. No, it's fine. Stephanie makes the undisputed title exclusive to SmackDown. Triple H is awarded the World Heavyweight Championship to have on Raw. With that, the WWE had embraced Lesnar as their next top guy. It's unfortunate how he left the company after everything that was invested into him, but it's my opinion that he wouldn't be the big name he is today if he had stayed. His time in the UFC really made him a big deal, and when he came back, Brock was respected as a legitimate tough SOB. But that's about it for now. I just wanted to cover the build to SummerSlam with everything involving Brock Lesnar and The Rock. 2002 was a very special time in the WWE, and it's fun to take a look back at everything that was going on.